continue with work on ourselves. Hashtag work on self, a lifetime project. So, accountant property guy, what topic are you engaging us on today? Oh yes, today I just want us to talk about a lifestyle, and the lifestyle that I want to engage on is, a running lifestyle. I remember very, very well when I started loving to run. It was at my primary school, from the rural there. I just found myself liking to run. Those who knows me very well, they know that every time when they send, I was the fastest kid that if you want to send someone to the shop and you want the person to come as soon as possible, I used to be that kid who will go there and run fast than anyone and come back. So, and because of how special I was when coming to that, and which makes the elders to like me or to love me, it came as something that is a special thing to me. And at school, it's unfortunately that I've tried it, but due to the fact that it was in rural areas, there was no opportunity. So it's something that we tried, but it never took us anywhere. Until such time when we went to university, I also ran. There was some program, they called it SASU, where different universities were competing against each other to make up to the nationals and stuff like that. But because I would like to believe that by then I was an old crock, so that's why it was a challenging thing, because at that time there were those whom that skill of running, it was nurtured from the infancy stage. And at that time when I was competing with them, they were at a level where they are sharp. So the least that I could do, it was just to taste and experience what I could have been. But since then I just started running for health, or for the fun of it, or for the passion of it, and not to I was no longer running for the career or for money whatsoever. But one will understand that running, it has been part of me, and right now I still do it. And many people who don't run, they ask themselves, because one can say there is nothing nice about running, because to train it's pain, to train it's hard, to train it's a sacrifice. And the same thing, after you've trained, you go to the race day, and you still ask yourself, on the race day, doesn't mean that if you have trained, the race will be peasy easy. No. In fact, on the race day, it's when it's even more demanding, because at that day you will be fighting with your mind to say, we have put time, we have trained, and we ought to do better. Others, sometimes when we run, they make some jokes when you feel pains towards the end of finish. They say, remember, you have paid for this, because some people those who don't know, running actually, according to my perception nowadays, is more expensive than any other sport. Those who run will tell you that you need to run with the proper shoes, you need to affiliate with a particular athletic club, and you need to have an annual license, and for every race there is also a fee. And some races that are more popular, more famous, you'll find that they are outside of your town, meaning that there has to be some traveling expenses. So if you were to put someone in that perspective, one will understand that indeed this thing is not just a run like the way we are seeing it. And I always tell people that it's more than running, it's beyond running itself. So Mr. Accountant Property Guy, and shout outs to my fellow runners. I'm a member of Polokwane Athletic Club, and I've got lots of friends of Mzansi Athletic Club, Petersburg Club. We do have 015, we do have Guyana Galopas, quite a number. I've seen in Limpopo, you have your Azania. So a lot of friends that, it's a community of its own kind, a caring community. It's amazing if you were to see how runners interact, how runners, build that kind of community even beyond the running activities, because we know each other, the friendship. And those whom you don't know, running, it's therapeutic, if I may say. To me, if I was to relate, why do I love running so much? Because there is a quite number of benefits that I'm getting out of running. And I also want to indicate that I'm not saying people should do running, but all I'm saying is I believe that as an individual or as a person, you ought to find something that that it will help you to unwind, to reflect back, to mirror yourself on the journey of your life. Because according to me, I've learned that in my personal life, every time when I run a marathon, I always encounter a different lesson, if I may say, a different experience that I always relate to life. And it's so amazing to me that in my world, running, it's a true epitome of life most of the time. Like for instance, there are some marathons that I will start with a faster pace, and having trained hard, having been confident, but surprisingly, some of the marathons I don't get the best time towards finishes. And there are some races where I felt like I didn't train enough, meaning that at the beginning you find that the pace in which I'm running with is not the best. But surprisingly, when I look at my time towards the end of the finish line, I surprise myself finding that actually I've done so well. So, and there are times where I will sit down and reflect back to say, why is it like this? And sometimes when I relate to my life as well, I find a bit of correlation there. Because in life, there are certain things that you find yourself that you are overconfident. You are sure that you've done everything right, and you expect, life to reward you the same measure or the same measure in accordance in which you have worked or you have contributed. But unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. The same story that I've given in the marathon, in the running, you prepare so hard, you overtrain, you do everything right, but at the end you don't get the results that you anticipated. And the other time when you feel like you didn't do enough and you're just doing it and you see the outcome, you surprise yourself. So is in life. So the lesson that we can draw out of this, like personally, that I've drawn myself personally into this lifestyle, of running. And also this thing is backed up because I'm a believer spiritually, because the Bible, there is a scripture. I may not quote it exactly, the verse and everything, but there is a say that says that most of the time the last will be, there is this other one that says the last will be the first and the first is not the last. And in the Italy Sisters it says the fastest runner most of the time is not the ones who wins the race. It is there, it is stated as if like they knew that it's like that. So we can draw, I always draw many lessons out of my lifestyle of running. So I can give another example. The other day I remember very well, in that marathon, because there are so many things that happen. Because also, as and when you run, it's easy sometimes to compare yourself with other fellow runners. I mean, in terms of like myself, my physiques, I'm a skinny person, and sometimes it's easy if you are a runner to underestimate someone who's got I will say, for the lack of better word, who is more fit. I will reference it as someone who's got a muscle, more masculine than you in this case. So I used to think that every time when I come across somebody who is more masculine than myself, I would say I will do better, because I'm skinny, I'm lighter. Actually, this person shouldn't, I can do better. But I've learned that no. It's not like that. So you ought, someone once said, stick to your lane, stick to your plans, stick to what you have practiced, how you've trained. Because believe in me, in the running marathon, it's so easy that sometimes you are a man and you find that the ladies come, a group of ladies comes and they pass you like that. If you are not disciplined enough, you will start questioning yourself, actually you will start challenging yourself, you will start beating yourself too hard to say, no, I'm a man, I cannot allow the women, they will think like maybe I'm weak. No. In the world of running, it doesn't work like that. Remember, each runner in each and every race, they've trained, they know their strategy, and they stick to according to the plan. But if you are going to get into the race and you get intimidated by, if you are for the lack of better word, I don't know if somebody is a gender, if you are someone who believes that you know, if you are a male, you think that a female cannot do better than you will have a problem, I'm telling you. So all I'm trying to say, other lessons that most of the time I've learned in my running life is that one of saying, this life is not about competing. You don't compete with others, but we need, I think as an economic property guy, I've learned that I need to compete with my own targets. I need to stick to my plans. I need to believe in my plans, I need to trust the process, because every time, imagine if there is processes and there is time that needs to be worked on. Certain things, they mature like wines over time. So running, as you can see, there are quite a number of things that I'm constantly learning, and that is one of those. So all we are trying to say, Mr. Accountant Propagate, to ourselves about this running lifestyle is that the benefits are amazing, and to me as an accountant property guy, running always is like putting myself in putting myself in a machine that sometimes will go back and start to do a self-retrospection about life. Every time I run a marathon, immediately after that, or while I'm in the process of running, there are so many things that sometimes, actually, for me, during the journey of the marathon, most of the time I have a me time. I have a self time, reflections, and looking back. And sometimes when the pain comes, you remind yourself, whether you ask yourself, deep questions. So by the time the marathon is finished, people sometimes they'll be looking at me as if like, wow, look at him, he just finished 42. But for myself, it will be like, wow, what kind of conversation that we had in this marathon, what kind of me time, reflection time, the decision that we will have, took in that journey of decisions, the adjustment that we will have made in that marathon. By the time the marathon is finished, because normally marathon takes 4 hours, it's so amazing that out of that 4 hours, the life-changing, the growth that we get out of that, it's out of this world, is uncompared to anything. So one day, I think this message that I'm talking about, the runners will relate it much better than those who are not running. Hence, one day you will understand why, costly as it is, but we still believe that it is the right thing to do. Because I'm telling you, no money, that it doesn't matter the money that it cost me to buy the shoes, the money that it cost me to travel, but the session itself. Imagine one day it doesn't make sense to, like for me, sometimes it used not to make sense for me, for someone to pay therapeutic sessions for such a lot of money, saying you're just going to pay this session to sit with someone. But now I think I understand those who go to therapeutic sessions, and because in my world, that kind of therapeutic session in my world is the running. So believe in me, I'm willing and prepared to pay whatever it will cost me to keep on running. And over and above that, to be honest with you, ever since I started running, I don't remember having, the medical bill. I think, if I may say, I feel good, I feel energetic, the flow of my thinking, how I do things, how I attract. It's so amazing, to the extent that even if I was to find myself not running, if I am not running, it must be either due to an injury. But in the absence of injury, believe in me, I will always remain a runner. Because of running, it's kind of, it's like the blood, that is running within me. So there is no way you can isolate my, Mr. Kanu property from running. And I wish that we can have more community in running, because I know the impact of it. It goes beyond fitness. It goes beyond medical expenses saving. It goes beyond, quite number of things. There is benefits to it. There is lots of benefits. So I wish, and most of the time we're still gonna engage. One day we'll be giving some of even more practical guidance, advice, because the only way that we also gonna do it better is when we learn. Because running also, it has to do more of learning what is the best way to run, what are, because the body itself, believe in me, there are some lessons that says that when you run, sometimes the body loses key vitamins, meaning that after that you must still go back and reload those things. Because running, at the end of the day, if it's not done the right way, it can end up being dangerous. It can end up doing more harm than good. So it's very critical, and it's very important people to understand that anything, and I'm saying anything, it has got its own pros and it has got its own cons. So I'm not saying people must just run whatever, because I think each and everything, when you do it, you need to do a thorough research, you need to prepare for yourself, you need to do it the right way, and the right way is to learn about it and improve it partially, and you proceed as such. And with that said, today about the podcast of running, I think that the lesson that I want us to draw is that every time when you see people running, don't think like it's just running. It's always more than a running that you see. It's beyond running it in itself. And if you want to understand it more, I mean, always, interview 3-4 runners, you'll always hear a different story about them. And hopefully those who are not running, one day they will join us. And those who have joined us, ask them. If you know someone that he or she used not to be a runner, but now is running, ask them the same question you will tell me. And cheers. I can't wait to see more community of the running people. And as we work on ourselves, the aim as well is to influence and is to invite people to come and run with us, because we know the impact and people will be rewarded in an amazing way. I think I'm out for today. Cheers.